For our next exploration into the Google Docs suite, let's go ahead and look at Google Spreadsheets. So from the Drive landing page, under that red Create button, you've seen the option to create a spreadsheet, which simply yields a very basic spreadsheet that I can, again, share with others. And you can use spreadsheets to track anything from grades to student orders to any type of number or data. Spreadsheets are fantastic for that. And I'm going to work through some spreadsheet tasks. This is a document that sometimes I'll use with students to get them familiar with this tool, because many of them prefer to work with Google Spreadsheets as compared to other spreadsheet programs because of its ease of use. So this is in the template gallery. It is linked in our course, but if you search Google Spreadsheet tasks, it takes them through 4 basic tasks to have them create different kinds of graphs and charts, and also to do some of the calculations, just so they're aware of the power of this tool, so that they're not generating and doing all this computation in these charts on their own unless they're specifically asked to. So I went to the template gallery and I made a copy of this. And so just to kind of show off a couple of the things that spreadsheets can do. So spreadsheets has a built-in calculator. That's what it's most known for. So if I put in any kind of string of numbers here, I can easily add those up. And all of the functions, or kind of the calculator basic operations, are going to be under functions. And if you select this, you can see you can sum, average, count how many there are, look for the maximum or the minimum. And then there's a lot more functions, but here's the most common. So if I select sum, it starts writing this formula in here for me. But what I like about Google Spreadsheets is I really don't need to know the formulas. I just highlight what I want it to do, and based on that, Google's just going to auto-populate that for me, and if I hit the enter button, it's going to convert that formula into the numbers. So now to get the average, I can just again make sure I'm clicked in the cell where I want the average to appear, choose average, and again highlight the numbers I want to average. I don't want to include this total, I just want to include the raw numbers. The average of those numbers is 3073.8, and I can change the format of how these are displayed. If I go up to the format menu and go into number, I could change it to currency, I could round it off, and so I can choose any of the ways that I want this to appear. So I think I'll round them off and and you can see now there's a comma in there. So you can go in and format any of the different ways that you would like the data formatted. So let's go ahead and look at some of the ways you can use spreadsheets for charts and graphs, because that's what really makes the data come alive. So the first task is for students or learners to go to the weatherchannel.com and pick 3 cities, and you can easily just look up average monthly temperature, look for the high temperature, and we're going to compare all these. So I chose Denver, Sydney, Australia, and Anchorage, Alaska, and just put in that data here. If you're doing this as a practice activity, you can really just make up numbers. The important part is that you know how to graph this. So I want to convert this information into a line graph. So I'm going to go ahead and just highlight all of my data and go up to the chart or graph tool, which looks like a bar chart. And if you select this, Google is going to make its best guess as to which type of chart or graph you want based on the data that it's manipulating. So it does a pretty good job. It actually guessed that I wanted a line chart, but I don't know if I like it shaded or not down here. So what I can do is go to the More features, and I can go into line charts, and I can pick one that doesn't have the shading. So this is the line chart. It looks great. I can go into the Customize tab up here at the top, and I can easily add a chart title. I can select where my legend is going to be located. Definitely liked it better over on the right. As I make all these changes, I can see my chart update. I can change the background color, and I can easily add horizontal and vertical axis titles. So I can label my horizontal axis, and to switch to my vertical axis, I just use the drop down menu, and I can change that title to degrees. And I can adjust the scale here too if I want to. When I'm happy with how the chart looks, I just click Insert. It is automatically added into my spreadsheet, and I can drag it over here out of the way. I can also save it. Over here on the right is a drop-down menu, and I can save it as an image, and that way I can put it into a Google presentation, or I can put it into a Google Doc, maybe for a lab write-up. So there's how you do a basic line chart. Let's go ahead and look at a circle graph or circle chart here. So the next task asked them to survey 10 people to see what their first choice of favorite animal is, and they can only pick one. So I'm going to go ahead and select this data and go up again to the chart or graph button. And Google does a great job again of guessing that based on the data I provided that I want a circle graph. So it's recommending a pie chart. This is what it's going to look like. You can go in and customize it further and add a title, but if you're happy with it, simply click Insert. And I have a really nice pie chart to go with my data. Very colorful. The next task is statistics based. It's to roll a dice 50 times and to track how many times each number is rolled. And for this one, I am directed to use column chart because, and I did put a hint in here, Google's going to see the two sets of numbers and want to graph both. So let's go ahead and see how we could make these sets of numbers into a column chart. So this one gets a little bit trickier, although the interface Google provides makes it really easy to walk you through it. So I'm going to go back up to Insert Chart. And you can see it's wanting to graph both of these. Well, really, I want one set of data. I want the dice, the number rolled on the dice, to be on the bottom, or the number rolled on the die. So what I want to do is use column B as labels. And that'll always be an option, whether it's column A or B. Wherever one of my sets of data is, it says, do you want to use that as labels? And I sure do. Now I can see I have the different numbers that I can roll on my die along the bottom here. But I want to change this from a line graph, which I'm not crazy about, to a column chart. So I have a really nice bar graph, and when I hover over it, you can see I even get some great data. I'd want to go in and customize and add some labels and a title to this graph, but I'm going to go ahead right now and insert it. So those tasks cover the most common types of bar graphs or charts or graphs that you might be using with Google Spreadsheets. Again, Google Spreadsheets is great for calculations, and this is a task that I love to have students do, and it is for calculations. Again, we did that kind of at the very beginning, but for them to go through and make a list of if their parents were just to buy them one outfit for back to school, which is pants or jeans, shoes, a shirt, a light jacket and a heavy jacket, and a backpack and a lunchbox, just some basic necessities for back to school. How much are their parents spending altogether, and what is the average cost of these items? So to go into total cost of items, again, I'm looking for the sum of those. So I would go up to the sum feature and choose sum and highlight the numbers that I want added. And so the total cost of those items is $184. And now I can find the average of those by using the average feature. And again, I'll highlight these. If my numbers were not in a row, I could use the control button and hold it down and highlight some other numbers over here. Numbers don't have to be sequentials. So I'm going to highlight the ones I want to average and hit enter on my keyboard. And so this Google Spreadsheets task is a great handout just to work through, just to familiarize yourself with all the different types of calculations and graphs and charts you can put in. It is linked in the course, and I do encourage you to work through those and make sure you understand how you can create all of these. And again, it's in the template gallery if you ever want to use it with your students.